Welcome to part 37 of our Clone Wars rewrite. We are currently rewriting the character of Ahsoka Tano, and in this video we'll be focusing on Season 4, Episode 14, A Friend in Need, where we have Ahsoka willingly offer her help to Lux, but they end up getting into more than they bargained for and must work together to escape the sticky situation. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we will not be reading from the argument against Ahsoka this time, you guys, because we literally, wrote a page and a half on this episode, so...
It's a really bad episode.
Yeah.
It's a really bad episode.
Anyway, you should go check out our argument against Ahsoka series. Anyway,
Our reaction video covers a bunch of the problems, too.
Yeah. I think we also have other videos that talk about it too, but yeah.
We mention it quite a bit because we hate it so much.
Precisely.
I like to think that my arrogance, impetuosity, impatience, selfishness, and greed are the qualities that make me the lovable chap I am. Alright, moving on.
I mean, the quote for this episode is correct. Friendship certainly did show Ahsoka's true colors here.
Yes, it did. I mentioned that in our reaction video, that I was just like, for once, it's true!
Yup.
It's not saying what they wanted it to say, but it's true.
The first ever sanctioned meeting between the Republic and the Separatists will be held, and Mandalore is chosen as neutral ground. Tensions run high, as many hold hope for these important negotiations.
In our notes, we wanted Anakin, given his black and white view on the Separatists that was established in Season 3, Episode 10. He sends Ahsoka along with Padme to the peace talks in order to protect her in case things go south. Neither Padme or Ahsoka are particularly thrilled about it, but agree upon Anakin's insistence. However, Ahsoka remains outside with the other Republic forces during the meeting. So, would we want to have a scene establishing that, or would we have the narrator? No, I guess the narrator can't really exposit all that very well.
Well,
Or
we can
how
have the
Ahsoka and
narrator
Padme
say
feel about it.
Anakin sends Ahsoka to be Padme's bodyguard as he fears the negotiations will go south. And then show a little clip of him talking to the two of them, and Padme and Ahsoka kind of exchange a look like, we're not really so sure about this. And that's all you need.
How do you make that sound so easy? My brain was like, there's no way we could establish this. And then you're just like, bing, bang, boom. And I'm like, I hate you, smart person. Okay, well then. But we wouldn't show the meeting because Ahsoka's outside. Or would we show it? Would we just have an establishing shot showing that Ahsoka is outside, and then the camera moves inside and we get this?
Yeah, I think that works.
Okay.
Say it aloud before this gathering that you declare the separatist state legitimate.
On the Republic side, you've got Padme and Mon Mothma. Is that Mon Mothma?
Yeah, and
Bail Organa. So you've got all the attractive humans on the Republic side, and all the weird-looking aliens on the Separatist side.
Huh. Very interesting.
I stand before you, son of Mina Bonteri, loyal separatist, a patriot, a friend. I will not be silenced!
We would ask you to respect that we deal with this matter ourselves. He'll be killed. Do what you can, Ahsoka, but be discreet.
Okay, so in our version, we would have Padme kind of make up an excuse so she can step away for a minute, and so she goes outside and she contacts Ahsoka, and she lets Ahsoka know what's going on, and she has the whole be discreet line, and Ahsoka will go and actually be discreet.
Yeah, I guess Padme could say it, but at the same time, you could have her just not say it, and Ahsoka is just still discreet about it. But we also, one of the details is that we wanted Padme to ask Ahsoka to look out for Lux because he's all that remains of Padme's good friend and mentor, Mina.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, like, because the way TCW handles it here is like Padme's not even on screen as Lux talks about Mina being a friend. It's like, and who was Mina a friend to? She was a friend to Padme. But no, instead they have this like googly eyes between Lux and Ahsoka, who barely know each other, and on what's actually in the content, not what just the narrative wants you to walk away with. Like, these people are not friends.
Nope.
Awkward acquaintances at best.
Yeah. And that's being generous.
And like Lux, again, like he's old enough. Well, no, wait, because Mina was Padme's mentor before she became queen or when she became senator? Because 10 years passed between her being queen and her being senator, right? Or when did she become a senator? At what point?
She became senator off screen.
Yes.
I don't know just how much time passed.
Either which way. I guess I was gonna be like, oh well, Lux would know her. But no, he might have been really young when Padme was still close with Mina. So
Right.
mind you, up until the Clone Wars started, then Mina would have been a Republic senator. And so then they probably kept in touch, stayed close friends.
Oh yeah, good point.
So then he would know her. Like, you're not necessarily going to be friends with your mom's friend, but you'd know her better than the random standoffish girl you met once, like, a year ago. Look at that handy dandy little shelf along the side of the platform.
With his mother. Kill him.
It's such a good line saying, reunite him with his mother. And then to, like, back it up with explicitly being, kill him. It's like, come on, guys. You had good dialogue there.
And then you threw it away. Good
like,
job.
It was implied. It was, like, evil, but not... but then, no, we have to, like, spell it out for the kids, guys. Okay, how is it that those droids, which have on numerous occasions proven to be extremely difficult even for a Jedi to take out, now she just kicks them in the head and they go night-night?
Oh, good point. Again, the power scaling in this show is horrendously inconsistent.
Just make them B1 droids. Come on, like, Lux is not a fighter. So I would believe that two machines would be stronger than him. And he wants to talk to Dooku. So of course he's not going to fight them. And so, like, watching him be escorted by, the B1 droids, you might be thinking, oh man, Lux, he should be able to get away. But then later you'll learn, no, he wanted to be brought before Dooku. And then it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then it makes sense why Ahsoka has such an easy time of getting rid of them.
I think it's time to go, don't you?
Oh, they're holding hands. Oh, it's so... I hate everything.
Yep.
I would probably, like, if they held hands, I wouldn't have the camera linger on it. Otherwise, I would just, she says, come on, and he comes. Like,
yeah.
Don't have to hold hands.
I'm sorry.
Fire up the engine.
I'm sorry. Now I'm thinking of, like, that scene from The Force Awakens where Finn and Rey are, like, running away from the stormtroopers, and, like, Finn keeps grabbing Rey's hand. Rey's like, stop taking my hand. And now I'm just picturing that line in Lux's mouth, stop taking my hand.
I love how she grabs his hand and pulls him, and then, like, let's go 3 feet later.
Yeah, it's so unnecessary.
And then he's like, watch his body language. Yeah, look, like,
R2, fire up the engines. We're leaving.
Like, she really yanked on him.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
It's like, oh, they're holding hands, and they pay attention with the camera to that. But then when you get here, you're paying attention to Ahsoka because she's talking. So the camera's subtly telling you she just hurt him. Not terribly, but she just like, you know, they have this tender, oh, isn't this sweet? And then she pulls him hard enough to make him uncomfortable. But then the camera doesn't focus on that. It's got you paying attention to Ahsoka while it just kind of subtly acknowledges that.
Wow. Okay.
What a choice. Why would you do that? Why would you have
Exactly.
this like, aw, and then, ha ha, she hurt his arm when she yanked on him.
Like, I literally have no words. Like, that is just so weird. That is such a weird choice.
I don't get it.
Or are they,
Why?
like, doing this to kind of set up when they start really emphasizing that, oh, Lux is weak and pathetic and he's not a fighter, and Ahsoka is so strong and, like, she's a fighter.
Yeah.
Are they doing it?
Either that or they thought it would be like a funny, subtle joke. Could be a bit of both. But
What?
it's just so stupid. Like, why
is.
have her yank him for 3 feet? 6 feet if you want to be generous. And then she's already contacting R2. Fire up the engines, we're leaving. Like, she's in this huge rush. Why? Maybe this is to imply that the droids aren't taken out, and once they get up, they're gonna sound the alarm. But, like, there's really not much to confirm that. Like, the only reason they get found out is because she's an idiot as soon as they reach the doors to leave. Like, if you showed the droids getting up, you know, maybe kind of having trouble getting up, and that's why she's like, hey, let's go right now. Then, and yeah, then she's in this big rush, then it would make sense. But it was pretty clear that the droids were down for the count. Like, what is this? Be discreet, Ahsoka.
Yes.
Like, if anything, if she had destroyed the droids inside, like used her lightsaber to make sure that they wouldn't sound the alarm, she wouldn't have to be doing all this.
It's so stupid. This should be, like, Ahsoka should be absolutely prioritizing stealth here. So she leads Lux off the side of the platform, not straight down the middle of it, and she guides him to that shelf where she snuck in,
Yeah.
and they sneak out the same way.
I would show him having more trouble kind of like balancing on the shelf because it is a thin shelf. Like, it's wide enough, but like he would probably be a bit freaked out and like back tight to the wall, arms straight out, like like, okay. And she's just like, you know, I got you. You're fine. Maybe if she wanted to kind of lighten the mood, like keep him calm, she could just be like, if you fall, I'll catch you. Like, you know, like with her, like the Force, right? Like,
Yeah.
I got you. Like, you're good.
And if you want to include all this tension and stuff, you could maybe have, like, Lux slip and almost fall, so he yells, and that's what tips off the droids that they're there.
Yeah.
Instead
There
of
you go. And then
Ahsoka,
you
like,
can have your chase
bulldozing
scene.
them.
And I was gonna suggest, like, like, I kind of said it in passing as a suggestion for this, but like, I would have, like, if you wanted to have these more formidable droids, like having escorted Lux, then I would have it that when she enters, well, you could change it so that, like, it's not this random tiny room with an elevator right there. Like, you have a hallway going into it and the doors open so that she can sneak up behind them and then, like, cut their heads off with her saber. But if we kept the B1 droids, then I would have her, yeah, like, show just a second of her deactivating them, just to be sure that, like, they're not gonna be able to sound the alarm.
Ahsoka, I appreciate your help, but
Keep moving.
Wait a second. I don't think she has her lightsabers.
Oh yeah, because it's
Because-
Mandalore, so that her lightsabers would have been taken away.
I was like, this is weird. Like, she almost always uses her lightsabers right away, but she's not. And then I looked at her belt and I didn't see them hanging there. So yeah, I guess she wouldn't have her lightsabers on her. So yeah, like, make them B1 droids so that they're easier to handle. And then she can just, like, I don't know, rip maybe some cords on the back of their head or something to, you know, deactivate them. And then, yeah. But this would all play out the same.
Except for the fact
Her-
that Ahsoka keeps leaving Lux behind.
Yeah. I would have her running beside him, and because she doesn't have her lightsabers to, like, deflect blaster bolts, I would have her using the Force to kind of push the gun barrels. Like, we've seen her do it lots of times, where she kind of, like, pushes the guns to the side with the Force to throw off their aim. I would
Yeah.
have her doing that as she's running. So it, or like using the force to knock the droids over, or knock some of those barrels down to provide cover, things like that. So she's protecting Lux.
Because just how many droids are there?
The amount of droids is always changing in this show. Like, nothing ever stays consistent when it comes to like background numbers. I mean, we saw that in the very first episode when Yoda's up against those clankers. There's like 7 of them, and then there's 20, and then there's like 5. Like,
it's great.
We've got incoming clankers.
One's down, but now there's more coming. Yeah. People are dying because of Ahsoka.
So like, where are all these droids even coming from? Why would Mandalore allow separatist battle droids onto the planet?
Well, they allowed Republic soldiers here. These
are they
the
Republic soldiers?
They're Senate guards, but like they're obviously trained soldiers. I mean, it would make sense that each of them would bring their own detail of guards.
But it looks like both sides brought like a freaking platoon.
Nah, I'd say a squad.
Still,
but,
even a squad feels like
yeah,
a lot.
no, it is.
Because Mandalore should be happy to provide its own security. Mandalore does have a security force.
It's one of those things that, during transport, they would want guards in case you get attacked en route. And it's also potentially one of those, well, they're going to bring guards even if we don't, so then we're going to bring guards too. Going back to, the Great Divide in Avatar there.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. But still, like, I would cut down the numbers on both sides here, and then I would not have Ahsoka just be like, hey, can you guys deal with this for me? And just take off and ditch them. Take the Republic Senator's ship and leave them stranded there. I would have her deal with the droids herself. Like, she doesn't even need
like maybe she
lightsabers.
asks for cover fire while she goes and gets her lightsabers off the ship. Or maybe the captain she runs up to is like holding her lightsabers, not like in his hands, but like he's got them attached to his belt or whatever. Like she left them with him, kind of thing.
Maybe I think,
or maybe R2. Maybe she contacts R2 to meet her. So he's waiting at the bottom of the ramp, and then he's got her lightsabers tucked inside him, and he shoots them off to her like they did in the last arc.
Yeah, I like that. And then she deals with the droids herself. She doesn't go and drag other people into it and then leave them to get killed.
I would also probably have, show there's, a bigger ship and then, a smaller ship. And so then she takes the smaller ship. It's still, clearly theirs, the Republic's, but it's not oh, you just took the Senator's only means of leaving. Good job.
But again, what is her rush?
Well,
because here it kind of makes sense, because for some reason both sides brought a whole freaking squad, and so a whole freaking squad of droids are after them, and she's unarmed, and she doesn't think to tell R2 to meet her halfway and bring her lightsabers. So I guess it makes sense, but it also very much does not make sense. And especially if we take that threat away, she deals with it. Then why is she rushing to get Lux off the planet?
Because he's a wanted separatist refugee right now. And so if they just hang around, the separatists are going to demand that he be turned over to them.
Okay, that's fair. But I would have her at least contact Padme first.
Well, Padme's in the middle of the meeting, right? She had to sneak out in order to contact Ahsoka in the first place.
Oh,
So,
I just thought of something. Because once they take off here, then Anakin calls in. He's like, what the heck did you do? Padme just told me the peace negotiations fell apart. So maybe instead, if we want to include Anakin in this episode, then we have Ahsoka contact him instead and ask him what to do.
That's a good idea. I like that.
And then he's like, bring Lux to Coruscant. We can protect him.
See, now she suddenly has her lightsabers.
What the heck?
I was honestly surprised to realize that she didn't have her lightsabers on her before, because now she just suddenly has her lightsabers, and like this is who Ahsoka is. She just always has her lightsabers on her. But like, I think I appreciate that the TCW creators actually had the consistency of showing that she didn't have her lightsabers on her because they were on Mandalore. Kudos to them for at the very least keeping that consistent.
But like here, it looks like she and Lux literally just walked onto the ship.
Yes.
Oh, this is so stupid.
Obviously, she just collected them from the hook by the door, and that's that.
Ahsoka, Padme just contacted me.
Yeah, literally, they just get on, they just sit down, and then Anakin's already like, Padme just contacted me! Like, literally no time has passed. Which just supports my inference, because he doesn't say it here. All he says is, Padme told me that the peace negotiations have fallen apart. But it's like, this is immediately following what Ahsoka just did. And you cannot tell me that that had no bearing, that like they didn't realize that suddenly there was a firefight out on the docks between their forces. And that people on the Republic side were getting killed.
Unbelievable.
Like, because these aren't just clones. These are Senate guards, right? Which the Republic views as people, because unfortunately they don't view the clones as people. But like, when you're at peace negotiations and suddenly you get told, oh, by the way, our forces are killing each other because one of your people kidnapped our prisoner of war that we asked you. Like, the whole thing that the separatists want here is to be respected as their own governing body. And then the Republic's like, no, we're not gonna let you deal with that, you know, on your, like, that's what the senator said. She's like, please respect us and let us deal with this on our own terms. And then the Republic goes and snatches him and runs away with him. You cannot tell me that that is not the reason that the negotiations completely fell apart. And like, obviously in our version, it would be the same, but the difference would be Ahsoka did not stupidly make her presence known. It was an accident. They were both doing their best to be discreet, but it blew up in their faces regardless, right? So it's out of their control. And then, yeah, she made sure that people weren't dying, but obviously at that point it would be too late. The cat would be out of the bag, and that would be that. So
oh, that just made me think, like, should we have Padme contact Ahsoka and ask her what happened?
Yeah, you know what? If the negotiations had fallen apart, then she wouldn't be in the meeting anymore. Like, because the other thing you could do is that you imply that the negotiations didn't fall apart immediately because of this. So you could have it that Padme contacts them later.
Yeah,
sure
I would have
still
it that
okay.
she contacts them later. So
But
they
here we
contact
have
Anakin first,
Anakin.
and then Padme calls them later.
Because I mean, like, it's stretching realism a little bit that the fight would be under wraps, but like we showed, like she took out the guards. Like in our version, we showed that she took out the droids who had taken Lux up to the communications room, so they wouldn't be able to sound the alarm. And then the other droids chased her, and it was a smaller number, and she took them all out before getting on the ship. So then
maybe she even hides them.
Well, I would have her leave that to the Senate guards. Like, she's not going to keep hanging around once the immediate danger is, like, because yeah, she's got to get Lux out of there before Separatist leadership is like, hey, we just went through this whole meeting to get you guys to like recognize us as a sovereign governing body, and now you're doing this. Well, like, you want to fulfill your half of the treaty we just made, like, give him back. Maybe she goes to start helping, but the Senate guard is like, no, you go, you get out of here. We'll take care of this.
For the actual fight, I would have her handle that part on her own.
I would have them help. They're not just gonna stand around.
Yeah, I wouldn't have them standing around. But yeah, like maybe they try to help, but she would be in their line of fire anyway if she's attacking with her lightsabers.
Like they would be laying down cover fire when she first got there, and then yeah, maybe like 2 of them get behind Lux to protect him, escort him onto the ship while she's, R2's already fed her lightsabers, and then she goes and takes out the droids. Like, I would have it be very quick, not a big showboaty fancy fight, just a very quick, like half of it would take place off screen as you're showing what Lux is doing and everybody else, and then it's a handful of droids. They'd be done quickly, especially as she has help. You could maybe show one of the guards sniping out a droid as it comes around the corner, right? So before it gets onto Ahsoka, that kind of thing. Them working together, whatever. I like seeing that. So rather than having one person deal with all of it, she's capable enough, and we've established that she's not this Mary Sue Glory Hound, but I still like to show, she's not doing it all on her own.
But yeah, the main thing is there's no casualties.
She told me the peace negotiations have all but collapsed. Where are you?
I'm en route to Coruscant, Master. I have Lux Bonteri with me.
Master Jedi, I'm sorry if I've caused you any trouble.
Bring Bonteri to Coruscant immediately, and we'll discuss giving him amnesty.
The fact that Ahsoka just railroads Lux, doesn't ask him what he wants at all, just immediately assumes, oh, you must want to go to the Republic, so I'll take you to the Republic, and I won't even ask you. I was thinking instead, he kind of argues a bit with Anakin.
Okay.
So Anakin's the one who's like, hey, come to the Republic, we can protect you. And Lux is like, oh, well, I mean, I don't want to bother you guys. You guys can just drop me off somewhere and I'll find my own way. And Anakin's like, no, you should definitely come to the Republic. So instead of Ahsoka railroading him, it's Anakin railroading him.
Which further builds on the black and white view of the Republic versus the Separatists.
What are you doing with a gun anyhow? You're not a fighter.
I'm no longer a separatist either. I won't join the Republic.
What other options do you have?
I've already made contact with a group on Karlak who are noble and are allied with my cause.
And what cause is that?
To kill Dooku.
Sorry, what's with the face, Ahsoka? That's your goal too!
Good point.
I'm sorry, but I'm taking you to Coruscant. Your plan hasn't exactly been well thought out, Lux. Without me, how did you think you were going to escape those droids?
Like this.
Also, what happened to her Jedi sense ability to, sense danger? Someone's intent to harm her.
Also a good point.
Okay, anyways.
I cannot believe that people will actually try to argue that, no, Ahsoka's not kidnapping Lux. Yes, she is. This is straight up kidnapping.
So, my thought, because then when she wakes up, they're on Karlak. So how about, they're in this transmission with Anakin. Anakin's like, no, you gotta come to the Republic, Ahsoka. Bring him to the Republic. And then she hangs up, and he's looking at her like, what are you gonna do? And she's like, okay, tell me what's going on with you. She actually, takes some time. Because we've already established she's not really jiving with Anakin right now. Even at the very beginning, we showed, he's like, oh, I want you to go there, do this. And she's like, eh. So she hangs up on Anakin. She's respectful on the call with Anakin, but, she doesn't make any commitments. And then when she hangs up, she's like, okay, tell me what's going on. And then he tells her his plan. I would probably, for the sake of the mystery, I guess, still keep who his contacts are vague, but he tells her his whole, I needed to speak to Dooku to, I've got his, location now. And maybe she suggests, hey, that's all the more reason to go to the Republic. We've got the resources. He's like, no, I will not be part of the Republic. And so then she's like, well, hey, basically, it's just I don't think you really understand what you're getting into. So I'm going to come along to have your back and try and help keep you safe. I'm not necessarily going to help you on this mission, but I'm at least gonna see you as far as I can before I feel like it's gone too far.
I think
and I'll either help you get out at that point, or we'll have to part ways.
Yeah, I think the way I'd have her word it is, I don't know if this is the best idea, but if you'll let me, I'd like to help you.
Yeah, I think I would want her to make it clear that she's not necessarily in. She's makes it clear that she's if I think that this is getting out of hand, then I will help you get out, or we'll have to part ways.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've said before, is like, it's okay to like disagree with someone and have your boundaries, but like the way she goes about it, just no, your plan's bad, you have to listen to me, and like it's like you can't control somebody else. So if you're worried about them, you can you set up your boundaries and you're like, hey, I want to help you if you will let me, but there are lines I won't cross.
I'm sorry, Ahsoka.
Don't say sorry to her. She's kidnapping him. He defends himself, and then he apologizes to her.
Wow.
Because the narrative wants you to view what he is doing as bad in this moment.
It seems Ahsoka's quite exhausted. She probably should sleep it off.
Though I do appreciate that they at least explain how he, like, shrugs it off to R2. Did you hear that? That is not a good, like, sound transition. Ending the last scene kind of works because they kind of, like, die down the music and then the hyperdrive whooshing kind of drowns it out. And then it goes quiet, which kind of makes sense, that scene ending. But then when the music for this scene starts, it sounds like it's starting in the middle of a note.
Yeah, it is quite abrupt.
And especially because it goes from, like, quiet to then, like, yeah, you're in the middle of a note and then it's like this, like, it sounds bad.
Lux.
It's interesting that, like, when she wakes up, I guess, like, she doesn't seem to realize he knocked her out. Like, she doesn't seem at all concerned about the fact that she just blacked out and is now waking up. Like, what? I think this is where, like, we would show them kind of planning their ruse together, and instead of her being his betrothed, which is dumb, she would be acting as his bodyguard.
I'm just worried about it, like, being a bit redundant. Because, like, again, he doesn't really want to tell her who his contacts are, so really all the planning they would be doing is, hey, I'm going to introduce you as my bodyguard, and then the next thing we see is him introducing her as his bodyguard, so.
Fair enough. I mean, if you wanted to, like, leave, like, not have the repetition, you could have it that, you know, we get here. It's clear that they've been waiting for a while. Would we have them wait in the ship? Or, like, it's cold outside, so I would have them wait in the ship.
Oh, yeah,
and so,
good point.
And maybe she's kind of like, when did they say they were going to be here? And he's like, well, it should be soon. And, you know, and then she's like, and you remember what, you know, how you're going to introduce me. Yeah. Don't worry about it. So that you imply they've talked about this. They've come up with a plan. They're both in on it. But then it doesn't get revealed to the audience until he says it.
It just occurred to me, we should have him say something about, like, you should hide your lightsabers. These people aren't super friendly to Jedi.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and then I forgot. So thank you for remembering. So, like, I'd have her definitely be reluctant and suspicious when he brings that up.
Yeah.
But I'm debating whether to have Lux be like, hey, you know, are you gonna help me or not? When she's arguing against it. But I feel like, nah, I don't like that.
Maybe he doesn't actually say my contacts aren't super friendly to Jedi. Maybe he words it more vaguely, like, oh, I don't know how they'll react to a Jedi.
Yeah, he could say something like, you know, seeing a Jedi might make them nervous, right? Because the Jedi are allied with the Republic. Right? And these people are obviously outside of the Republic. So then I think, yeah, he would kind of go at it from that angle. I think seeing a Jedi would make them nervous. So you should leave your lightsabers behind. But then instead of leaving them behind, she gives them to R2 to keep. Because as it is, he goes with them anyway. So, like, it just makes sense for her to tell him to come with them. I love how they don't hear them and she doesn't sense them coming, like, at all.
Oh yeah, another good point.
They're literally, they must have been, like, right overhead in that moment, but she doesn't see them.
Okay.
You're late.
I think that, you know, especially because she's posing as his bodyguard and she's not expecting to see Mandalorians, when she sees them, then yeah, that whole push him behind her would make sense. And then when Bo-Katan is like, hey kid, you're late, then she realizes, like, these are your contacts. Okay.
I'm sorry, but that line doesn't even make sense. If he's the
Oh,
one who's
right.
late, then they should be waiting for him,
Waiting.
not the other way
Waiting.
around.
So then how about maybe she like puts out a hand to R2, like, okay, pass me my lightsabers. And he's like, no, these are my contacts. And then she's like, gives him this look like, are you serious?
Death Watch.
And she doesn't do the Batman voice. Hate it! Hate it so much! I mean, if you wanted to have her say the name so that people tuning in know who they are, then I would have, he's like, oh, these are my contacts. She's like, Death Watch? Death Watch? Is your contacts? And he's just like, shh. Like,
Who's this?
I'm his betrothed.
Betrothed.
we don't need to watch this.
And it's like the fact that they don't even question that. Why the hell are you bringing your fiance over here for like an assassination attempt plan thingy?
Because when they land, then she's acting all bodyguard. And then she's like, oh, I'm his sweet little airheaded betrothed. Yeah, she cannot go undercover to save her life.
Nope.
Quite literally, in this case. Like, she doesn't even wait until they've left to start, like, tearing him apart. So then, yeah, Lux is like, she's my bodyguard. Would we want them to question it? Like, why do you need a bodyguard? Because if we did, then I would kind of have him say, is like, we've never worked together before. I'm just, she's just a little bit of insurance kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's being smart, right? Like, they would respect that. I also hate, like, because, obviously anyone who knows this knows the stupid butt slap moment. And Bo-Katan's comment is, a little skinny, isn't she? His response is, she serves her purpose. Like,
Ew.
yeah, he's probably only saying it because he's saying what they would accept, but like at the same time, like he doesn't know. He's not smart enough in this version to be like playing chess like that. So it's just, why did they have that scene in there? Why? Oh, I hate this episode. I love how they had their speeders hidden around the corner. It's very dumb. Because, yeah, the whole, like, they come to the meeting place as if they're ambushing him. Like, literally the way they drop down out of the sky out of nowhere, they surround him. Like, if you wanted to have them, like, trying to intimidate him, then that would work. If you wanted them approaching him like, hey, we're gonna work together, I would just have them arrive on their speeders. Maybe one or two come out of the sky, but like this whole faux ambush, and then it turns out their speeder's right around the corner to, collect him. Like, it's just dumb. Do we want to have a quick conversation here? I guess it doesn't make sense because, yeah, in a second, Bo-Katan's gonna, like, okay, are we going or not? Like, come on. And then Ahsoka tries to back out of it at that point. It's so dumb. But maybe she kind of tries to, like, talk to him. And then Bo-Katan interrupts, so they have to just go. And then later in the tent, then they can kind of hash out the fact that he's allied with Death Watch.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
They'll kill us both.
You coming?
Yes.
I should stay with the ship.
No. You're coming too.
Look at R2. I never noticed that before.
How is he even staying on?
Magic. Love how they have this travel scene just so she can give him this dirty look.
Wow.
So glad we took that time.
Mm-hmm.
We talked in our reaction video about how dumb this scene is. That is still me! That is still me!
Yep.
that encapsulates me about this episode. Just why? Why?
This is a holotrace device. It can identify the origin of any holotransmission. I knew if I accused Dooku of murder, I would be brought to face him. And I now know Dooku's exact location. If Death Watch moves quick enough, we can destroy him.
So I would have everything up until he says Death Watch. I would have that been part of the conversation after they talk to Anakin.
Okay.
And then I would just have him vaguely say, and if my allies can move fast enough, then we can get him.
This is not some idealistic political group. They will take the information and kill you. You don't know what you're doing.
So I think, I would start the scene off, with Ahsoka being like, Lux, you didn't tell me that your contacts were the Death Watch. And then, maybe he kind of tries to explain himself. And then she's like, I told you, if we get in too far over our heads, that I would either help you out or I would leave. And I can't do this. And he's like, well, you can't leave now. They think you're my bodyguard. If you leave now, it'll be suspicious.
I think she would be trying to convince him to back out at this point. And so, she could be like, these guys are terrorists. You cannot trust them. They will take the information and kill you. I would have her say those things, but not in this, you are so stupid tone of voice. It would be in this hey, I'm worried about you. I don't think you have the full picture. So let me explain. And then he's like, nope. There's no one else I can rely on. I'm not going anywhere. And then, have her say, well, then I'm leaving. And he's like, well, you can't leave now. It'd be suspicious. And when that kind of settles on her, I would have her react to that as she realizes, dang, he's right.
And I don't think the kiss would work with the ruse we're having them use currently.
No. So I would just have that there's kind of a natural lull in the conversation right before Vizsla walks in. So before we recorded this video, we were talking about, why are the Death Watch allying with Lux? And so this goes back to something in season 2. And there's that episode 12, 13, and 14, the arc where you meet Satine and that whole thing. And it's weird because in the first episode, episode 12, the narrator opens with, rumors have reached the Republic Senate suggesting that the Council of Independent Systems' new leader, Duchess Satine of Mandalore, is secretly building her own army to fight for the Separatist cause. So Obi-Wan is sent to investigate. And then the audience gets to see what's going on behind the scenes.
If the Republic interferes now, Death Watch will not be able to take over the planet. Consider, once the Senate orders peacekeeping troops to Mandalore, the people will be surrounded by a military presence. Most distasteful. They will rebel and rally to Death Watch.
So, it seems obviously these rumors were started by Palpatine, Sidious's henchmen, people, the bad guys. It was started by the bad guys. But it seems like Vizsla was not privy to this side of the plan. Either which way, it's interesting because the whole thing that we're told before is that there's rumors that Satine is allying with the Separatists. But then when Satine is talking to Vizsla about it, because she doesn't know he's bad yet, she says that the problem is someone is feeding misinformation directly to the Republic Senate saying that the Death Watch is taking over Mandalore. It's that wasn't the rumor. That wasn't the rumor at all. Of course, Satine and Obi-Wan, they, face Vizsla, they fend him off. And then at the end of the episode, they're getting on the transport ship to go to the Republic. Obi-Wan shares his suspicions that the Separatists are backing Death Watch. Because her saying, the Death Watch are taking over Mandalore, if you want to try to connect that to what we were told the rumors were, it would be the Death Watch are taking over Mandalore and siding with the Separatists, right? That would be that connection there between what the narrator told us and what Vizsla repeated later, and then what Satine describes the problem as. But then it's not till the end of the episode, and Obi-Wan says, hey, I think the Separatists are backing Death Watch, and Satine's like, no, no, there's no way. And so it's like, well, then why would she be the one to like say this thing that's not what's going on, and clearly in her mind has no connection to the previous rumor? Like, what? And then in episode 13, the narrator reminds us that Obi-Wan was sent to investigate, and Satine was like, no, our intentions are to remain neutral. So then she's traveling to the Senate so she can plead her case against her involvement in the war. Basically, like, she's going to the Republic Senate to be like, hey guys, I promise you that I am not working with the Separatists. So stay away from us, please and thank you. But then in episode 14, now the narrator tells us that Satine hopes to convince the Senate that the Death Watch does not represent the entire Mandalorian government. So what she said in episode 12, that like, oh, the Death Watch are taking over Mandalore. It's like, wait, what? So for 2 episodes, we were told that the problem was that there's misinformation that Satine is allying with the Separatists. And then in episode 14, it turns, and now it's, oh no, the Death Watch is taking over Mandalore, which was just like a side comment from Satine, which didn't even make sense in the context of like, it does not add up. But either way, you know, a doctored message from Mandalore's deputy minister urges the Senate to vote in favor of occupying Mandalore because they need help to combat Death Watch. And the vote goes through. Republic troops are assigned to leave for Mandalore first thing the next morning, with Death Watch ready to heroically fight them when they arrive. But then, of course, Satine is able to get a copy of the message that was not edited, and Padme presents it to the Senate, and of course, the message is effectively reversed. Instead of urging the Republic to come help them, it's urging the Republic to stay out of the conflict between Mandalore and Death Watch. And so then it's implied that the Senate vote was overturned and the Republic occupation canceled, and thus Vizsla's takeover thwarted. And so Vizsla, of course, is all upset about this.
You promised us we would reclaim Mandalore from these weak-willed cowards. I will order my men to attack.
Without the backing of my forces or your people, your revolution will be over before it begins.
Notice how Vizsla's face does not have any scars on it. So off screen, apparently, he goes to confront Dooku, and things do not go well. And this is why he wants revenge on Dooku. The thing is, like, the last scene we just saw, he looks upset, but not like, "Grr, Dooku, you betrayed me, I'm gonna get revenge." He's just like, oh, this didn't work, and now you're just leaving me hanging. Like, it doesn't seem like someone who's bent on revenge. And then we get here, and it's like, I am bent on revenge because of this thing that happened off screen.
Great writing.
Yeah, TCW never ceases to impress me. I think that the side plot with R2 is a little silly, as I talked about in the reaction video, but since we're just focusing on Ahsoka, I guess we're not really changing that, so we would still have it that he's kind of kept separate from them for this, which kind of makes sense, because if Ahsoka got her lightsabers back earlier, that would definitely change things later.
You missed the stupid dialogue, because they have this weird thing throughout this episode where Death Watch apparently thinks less of women. They're sexist.
Yeah.
Of course not.
For some reason.
Even though Bo-Katan is their second in command.
Tell your woman to leave us.
First of all, I would not have Death Watch be sexist, because that is the stupidest thing ever. And secondly, I guess Vizsla could ask that Ahsoka just step out, so she's literally just outside the tent. So if anything goes wrong, she can rush to Lux's rescue.
I would have it that he disarms himself, and so he's like, see, we have no need for bodyguards.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue, like, because he's a fighter and Lux is not, like, he'd still be able to stomp on him. But, like, it is a show of, like, hey, we are here to discuss business, and I just want to talk to you. I don't want your bodyguard here too.
Yeah. But then the question would be, how does Ahsoka meet Tryla?
I would have it that Bo-Katan is like, oh, here, you can wait in here and we'll, send you some refreshments. And then Tryla is the one serving the refreshments.
Oh yeah, good thinking.
They are far from Russian, believe me. You have no idea.
She doesn't even know anything about Death Watch. The one who had experience facing Death Watch was Obi-Wan. So it's like she would know about them in theory, but like the way she talks about it is like, I know everything about these. I have experience with these. Like, you have no idea, but I do. When like all you've heard is stories, I don't feel like you would be acting like you're that familiar with the information about them.
Yeah, she constantly has this know-it-all attitude. So would we have... I think we'd have to have Ahsoka alone with Tryla?
Yeah. The other option is that, like, instead of having Ahsoka being, like, brought to another tent, like, maybe she's, like, even though she's not allowed to, like, stay in the tent where they're talking, she, like, steps outside and she's like, nah, I'm gonna wait here. Like, they're like, oh, you can go over there. And then she's like, nope, I'm gonna wait right here. And then she sees Tryla, and like Tryla is bringing stuff to other people who are outside, and she kind of sees Tryla being a bit mistreated. And then when Tryla comes to her, she's like, hey, just like stop for a minute, like just talk to me. And there's like nobody else right next to them, so they can chat for a bit.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And like I would still have it that like Tryla is kind of looking around like, I'm gonna get in trouble if I hang out here much longer. So that's what keeps it short, is that Tryla is afraid to stay for very long.
Where are you from? We were kidnapped from a nearby town.
We feast. Prepare the food.
Oh, they're just so like obnoxiously evil. It's just so dumb. But like, yeah, so she have her stop. She'd ask her, who are you? How'd you get here? Or whatever it was that she asked. I would have Tryla kind of hesitate to tell her, but then she kind of like realizes that obviously Ahsoka's different. Like, she's not one of the Death Watch. And so then she tells her, like, or maybe it's kind of like a, be careful, whatever you're getting into here, like you want to be cautious. Like, she doesn't say that explicitly, but she ends up, this person is being kind to me, so I want to kind of like try to warn them. And then I have wondered like whether to have Ahsoka kind of like pick up on that and be like, yeah, I know, I'm just here to help my friend before it's too late.
Yeah, something like that.
And then, yeah, maybe somebody calls for Tryla, or she's like, I gotta go. And then, yeah, somebody's like, we feast! Obviously, she wouldn't be serving. She would be sitting beside Lux.
Or standing next to him.
Careful not to choke on your stupidity.
I hate Ahsoka.
I see your woman has fit in well.
This is just gross and weird.
Yeah, and stupid. Like, you're telling me you didn't overhear that? Like,
again, yeah, like Death Watch is conveniently deaf in this episode.
You have taken our women, stolen our food, and threatened us for too long.
Well, if our presence here isn't welcome, we'll make ready to leave.
And you'll return our people to us?
You have my word.
Very well.
You see? They're not the butchers you make them out to be.
If you couldn't read that room, oh my goodness.
The chieftain is stupid, Lux is stupid, it's like, oh.
Well, I mean, the chieftain doesn't really have a choice. And I mean, like, it took a lot of guts just to, like, come there and say what he said. So I'll give him a pass. But Lux, yeah. See, they're good guys, can't you tell? If you wanted to have that moment, then you would have to take out all of the shots of the other Mandalorians, looking at each other, wink, wink, ha, ha, ha. You'd have to take all those shots out in order to give Lux at least some grounds to be like, don't know. I don't really see what you're seeing.
Yeah, maybe make it so like the Death Watch isn't acting like blatantly evil.
Yeah,
and it
like,
kind of seems like they are actually going to give this guy like a chance.
I mean, they've got Dooku's location. Oh, right. I forgot to mention that. They get Dooku's location and it's like, okay, he's there now. The sooner you leave, the more likely he will still be there. But then they like, let's have a feast. We're just gonna hang out. Like, so that is a plot hole.
Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe we cut the feast.
Because I was gonna say, like, it kind of works for, like, Vizsla to be, oh, well, you know, we're gonna be leaving because we gotta go deal with Dooku. Like, that part of it works, but of course, they don't follow through. Like, they're just hanging around. They're not planning to go anywhere. Because I would have Lux being like, okay, like, we're gonna go now, right? But then maybe have Vizsla be like, no, we're gonna scout out the location first. Like, we can't just show up when we have no idea what we're getting into. And so then he dispatches like a small ship, a small troop, like right away to go to the location to scout ahead.
And they're just waiting to hear back.
They're planning, well, because it'll take as long to get there as we want for them to get there, because like they would probably already know how far away it was. So then he could be like, okay, well, we'll send a scout ahead right now, then we'll pack up and we'll leave in the morning. So we'll be like just behind them. So if we can go right away, then we'll go right away. But if we get contact saying, no, he's already gone, or, you know, we need more time to kind of plan an assault on this location, then they can like go like set up a base somewhere closer. So then it makes sense then to have this feast. Like, they are acting on it right away, but like they've got a little time before they need to go. And then him saying, oh yeah, we're leaving tomorrow, then Lux is like, oh yeah, see, and then they're gonna give the people back and like it's all great. Like, he wouldn't say, oh, see, there are good people after all, because obviously the fact that they stole their women and stole their food and, like, you know, Lux, are you dumb? In this version, CCW's version, he is. So I wouldn't have him say, oh, see, they're good after all. I'd maybe Ahsoka gives him a look and he's like, you know, beggars can't be choosers kind of thing. Yeah, I know I'm not allying with Saints here, but I've already told you this is my option. I would have kind of show that, like, he is kind of realizing that these guys are not a good idea to be allying with, but he's like, no, I'm gonna get Dooku. Kind of like he feels like he doesn't have any other options, and he's being blinded by revenge. And like, why did they take her?
Here is your granddaughter. As promised. Kill them all!
Save my people.
This is so dumb because it's like there's literally nothing that Tryla has seen that would make her think that Ahsoka could save her people.
Yeah, we've been over this in other videos. So our fix would be Vizsla hands over Tryla, immediately kills her. I don't know if I would have Ahsoka yell Tryla. I think that would be a bit much, but yeah, like you see on her face that she's horrified. And then
I would show her and Lux
and they start burning the village. And then Lux is the one who's like, Ahsoka, you have to do something. So they decide together to break the ruse.
I mean, having the Death Watch do this does make them mustache-twirling villains. But, like, yeah, to rewrite Death Watch to be actually good villains would take too much time. Yeah, so around this moment, like, I would have her look at Lux, like, this is insane. And then he's like, Ahsoka, you have to do something. Would we have her take off her coat? I didn't see her taking off her coat. I saw her with her coat on, and then her coat off.
I think we've caught ourselves a Jedi.
did you see her use the Force?
Yeah, exactly. Have her use the Force, and then it's justified for them to be like, oh, we caught ourselves a Jedi.
Or, like, if she's still wearing her coat, then, like, they pull off the hood and see her Padawan braid. But, like, I think having her use the Force would be the most logical thing to do because she's a Jedi, and if she's actually trying to take down Death Watch all by herself, or at least make some sort of impact, she should be using the Force.
Drag her back to camp.
She would be dead if they dragged her back to camp. So, I would have them, like, lift her onto the speeder and then take her back to camp.
Yes.
What would we have Lux doing? Like, obviously he can't help, but if we have him, like, shout to her, like, hey, you've got to do something, that would be him betraying them as well. So then would we have him maybe say it to her quietly? Like, maybe, like, she did run up to Tryla's body, and then he runs up to her as well and is like, Ahsoka, you've got to do something.
I would have her stay by his side, and then, yeah, he says quietly to her, like, you have to do something. Maybe Lux tries to contribute a little to the fight, but, like, again, he's not a fighter, so I think he'd be taken down pretty quickly.
That because then they're both going to be bound in this next scene. Like, if he betrayed them, then he wouldn't be free in the next scene.
Okay, yeah, then, yeah, maybe he just hangs back and kind of hopes she'll be able to handle it, but she doesn't.
Like, if you really wanted to, then, like, earlier in the episode, instead of having Ahsoka be like, you're not a fighter, you could have him be, like, when she's offering to help, maybe, then he's like, well, I welcome that, you know, I'm not a fighter. Like, basically, you have him say it.
Okay.
So that explains why he doesn't try to help. Otherwise, it kind of comes off with, like, you've got to do something, I'm just going to stand here and protect myself.
Yeah, good point.
I would maybe, like, have him, like, backing up, like, maybe, like, trying to get toward a weapon or something, but then before he even gets a chance to do anything, then they get Ahsoka, and so then he's like, I'll be more help to her if I am not chained up with her.
She wasn't meant to be here.
Please, let her go.
I'm afraid that's not an option.
Oh yeah, his hands aren't bound. They're just halting him. I was like,
What?
okay, do you still consider him an ally or not? Like,
Very
what
clearly
is
taking
going on
half
here?
measures.
They literally have no reason to keep him anymore. But there's like, no, it's okay. We'll just kill the Jedi and keep you.
It's justice!
And she should already be decapitated. Yeah.
This is so dumb.
It's so dumb.
This should not have worked at all.
Thanks, buddy.
No one is doing anything. They're all just like, huh? Where? I'm just gonna stand here.
Lux,
feel
get to
pretty
ship.
There we go. And then Lux is out. Okay, because I remembered Lux being free during this scene because it effectively is. So I was like, oh, well, then we can't have him bound. But I think it would actually work nicer to have earlier, like during the fight, you know, maybe he does shout it to Ahsoka, or if they do it quietly, he does kind of help as well. And so then maybe they're both bound. Because I mean, like, instead of R2 creating this really long, drawn out, easily ignorable distraction, I think it would be better to have, because like they walk out of the tent in a moment and see that the other droids have all engaged Death Watch. So I think it would be better if R2 came here with a few other droids. And so then those droids start, throwing things or whatever. You know, maybe R2 is like zapping people, right? So like something much more like, this requires your attention now. And I probably also would have it that instead of Vizsla like having the lightsaber raised ready to strike. He's only just turned it on. Like, he's not ready to strike yet. And then maybe, because again, Lux is not a fighter. So do we want to have him kind of have this moment where he throws himself at somebody, like Vizsla or whatever? Or do we want to have it that Ahsoka kind of handles the fighting?
Yeah, I would have
nice to have
Lux
him.
at least try to help. I was gonna say, his line about, oh, she wasn't supposed to be here doesn't make sense anymore with how we changed it. So I would just have him say, like, let her go.
Yeah, maybe she's only here because of me. He's basically trying to say, like, she's not here, like, she's not coming after you guys. She was just here for me. He's pleading on her behalf, but at this point, Vizsla considers them both traitors, and he already has everything he needs from Lux, so he's just gonna kill them both.
Heck, maybe, like, Lux is on the ground next to Ahsoka.
Yeah, that's what I didn't say that, but that was the way I was picturing it, that they're both bound on their knees on the ground. I think I would have it rather than having, well, I guess it makes sense for Ahsoka to have the ropes that are binding her, or cords or whatever they are, actively being held by Mandalorians, you know, to restrain her, but for Lux they wouldn't. So he would be more free than her. So if he was to, like, launch himself into Vizsla or somebody else, maybe the two of the guards holding Ahsoka, like, he makes it difficult for them to continue holding her, which gives her enough movement that she's able to catch the lightsabers from R2, because I wouldn't have him, like, hand them to her the way he does. I would, again, have it that she has to, you know, like, catch them. Maybe he doesn't, like, fire them up into the air, he fires them toward her instead. But Lux is able to give her the freedom of movement that she needs to be able to catch them, free herself. She quickly frees him and gets him out of harm's, and then, yeah, like, says, like, you go, I got this. Well, yeah, because I think she tells him, get to the ship. Yeah, Lux, get to the ship. So then you could either tweak what she's saying to make it clear that she's saying, you know, like, get it ready for me, I'll be right behind you. Or you could have him be like, okay, we'll be ready when you get there. So he's saying, like, you better be coming after me.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, they're not engaging. I guess other members of Death Watch don't exist. They're all in that little tent.
I guess their little organization shrank considerably.
Yeah, my bad. I
or they're
forgot.
all asleep, I guess. I don't know. Or they're all getting coffee at the same time.
Sorry, just the way he, like, kicks her out of the tent. She's like, oh.
I know,
It's like,
right? It's so
you
overdramatic.
And she's up against, like, a non-Force user who clearly isn't all that skilled with a lightsaber.
Yeah, like, if I recall correctly, Obi-Wan made pretty quick work of him last time.
This lightsaber was stolen from your Jedi temple. Since then, many Jedi have died upon its blade.
Yeah. It's pretty clear he's having a much easier time of this than Ahsoka. Which, wow, for once, power scaling that makes sense in TCW. Yeah, that's basically the end of it.
He claims that I've killed many Jedi with this blade. Like, what Jedi would that
He was going
be?
after the younglings, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
Obviously, not masters or Padawans, because, yeah, Ahsoka has a little more trouble than Obi-Wan, but not by much.
Because, I mean, Mandalorians in Legends were very, very formidable. They could go, like, toe-to-toe with Jedi Masters.
But that's Legends. This is TCW. Everything is diluted.
Yeah, true. And all the villains have to suck because, hey, we can't have our heroes struggle over anything.
Anyways, continuing. Yeah, I couldn't remember if the droids had blasters, but since they do, then yeah, I would have like that big one there just comes like shoving its head into the tent and firing. That would be a diversion that would stop him.
And here again, like that music, bro, so over dramatic. This is a one-off episode. This isn't like the end of the world kind of bad. Like, it does not deserve the same kind of weight and dramaticism that, say, like, Obi-Wan versus Anakin does. Because that's a duel that actually meant something. And they're playing, like, actually pretty similar music now that I think about it a little bit. And it's like, why? Why?
Because music really affects emotions. And you hear this epic music and you think, oh man, this is epic.
Again, like, it's a one-off episode. Ahsoka doesn't have a rivalry with Vizsla or, like, nothing. There is nothing to justify this.
No, except that it's Ahsoka. And so you're supposed to feel that this is very epic.
Well, no, I don't think it's just about Ahsoka. Because, like, it has that like, kind of panning shot that shows, like, all the droids and Lux and R2 and her all lined up against these Mandalorians. And they're getting ready for this big showdown, this giant climactic battle which will decide the fate of the... Give me a break. Give me a break.
It's great. Super great.
Not bad, Jedi.
I didn't miss.
That dialogue still bugs me, man. Why not just have him say, like, hey, nice shot, but you missed. And then she can say, I didn't miss. And it makes sense.
Yeah, but the fact that he thinks she missed.
Yeah, that too. Like, how the heck do you not notice she just slashed open your jetpack, dude?
And that it's beeping like, hey, I'm about to explode. Hey, I'm about to explode.
Yeah, he would immediately be taking that thing off his back and throwing it as far away as possible.
If he knew anything about equipment, his own equipment, which you'd think that a trained soldier would know.
Yeah, he would definitely know. But again, like, they're trying to give her an out here without killing off Vizsla, because they need him for season 5.
But also, like, her tone of voice when she's like, I didn't miss. Like, again, that tone that I hate it.
Batman voice.
I hate it. Well, it's so, like, dark. Like, it's like, and now you're gonna die. It's just this super dark tone of voice.
I'm sorry, I just heard, like, Mira's voice from K-pop Hunters.
Right, I subconsciously quoted it. Oh no, you got the patterns. Now you gotta die. I said it the exact same way.
That's how deep the movie has sunk into your subconscious.
But also, like, that is the way Mira is saying it. It's really dark. And, like, they kind of go to show over the course of the movie that, like, hey, that attitude is really, like, not as righteous as they thought.
Yeah.
And so, but here, same thing, but righteous Ahsoka. Ahsoka's so righteous.
She can do no wrong. Because, hey, they're the bad guys, so they deserve whatever happens.
I mean, like, and they have kind of set them up as, like, really, 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 really bad guys. So, like, you know, they kind of did that. But, like, yeah, no nuance. He's a super, super bad guy, so he deserves to die. It's and again, it's not the fact that there's no nuance that makes it bad. It's the fact that the creators and the fans both insist that there's nuance, but there is none.
Nope.
Okay, so they're both hit by this explosion. She's up in a second, even though when he kicked her, it was, oh, ow, oh. So an explosion has less effect on her than getting kicked.
Apparently. So,
And
how would we give her an out that actually makes sense?
I think having the jetpack explode works. You just gotta make it faster. She slashes him, and he's like, oh crap, rips it off, but he's closer to it, and she's already running away because she knows what's gonna happen. And so he's still close enough to the explosion that he gets thrown back. He kind of gets knocked out, or like, you know, at least is like not unconscious, but he's out of the fight. And yeah, maybe she doesn't get quite far enough away that she's safe from the explosion, but like at worst she's kind of, you know, she gets knocked down maybe, and then Lux, you know, quickly hops out of the speeder, helps her up because she's like right beside, like she's thrown to like almost right beside it. So then he helps her get up, they jump in and start speeding away. And I guess she does get up about as quickly as she does. But yeah. So I would have Bo-Katan like run up to him, and he's kind of, you know, holding his head, like maybe he's bleeding, whatever, and he is like, no, don't let them escape. I'll say right away, she should be looking behind them. She should be expecting pursuit. So she shouldn't be taken off guard and thrown to the side and then has to get up and then she starts deflecting. Like, she should be already ready. I wouldn't necessarily have her lightsabers ignited. I probably wouldn't. But she sees them coming and then she ignites her sabers and starts deflecting. The stupidity here is that, like, I don't mind so much her getting knocked down and losing her lightsabers for a second. I would maybe have Bo-Katan do all of it, though. Like, 3 guys come after them. She knocks 2 out of the sky with deflected shots. And then Bo-Katan lands, manages to, you know, knock the lightsabers out of her hand, whatever. I would have R2 try to help, but he misses, like, Bo-Katan dodges it. Or at the very least, like, maybe he does get it, but it's just a little bit of oil on the visor, right? So maybe she pulls the visor off or just, like, quickly wipes it clean, whatever, but, like, it gives Ahsoka a chance to get back up. Then Bo-Katan knocks her down again, like she falls half off the speeder. And instead of having this moment where she just kind of like, ha ha ha, I've got you now, and doesn't take advantage of the moment, I would just cut that. I would just have Lux, you know, react faster. He does his bump, so Ahsoka gets back on, and then I would have it that when Bo-Katan falls underneath, she actually like attaches a cable to it, so she's like pulling herself along behind them and is like starting to climb back toward them, or like she's firing at them as she's getting pulled along, and then Ahsoka retrieves her lightsaber, cuts the cord, and that's how they leave Bo-Katan behind. And then I don't know if it would work to kind of put it here or later. Basically, I want Ahsoka to acknowledge how Lux and R2 obviously have helped, that she didn't do this all on her own. I love how it takes off like instantaneously after they get in there. They barely have time to make it to the cockpit before it's taking off. She's just getting to the cockpit now!
Okay, the ship is possessed, I guess.
And she has no idea where Lux is. She obviously doesn't care.
I would have her rush to the cockpit, get the ship started up, taking off, and her being focused on that is what allows Lux to slip away. And I think we should actually show that, Lux slipping away in the background.
But at the same time, we don't need him to slip away. Like, she's not trying to force him to go to Coruscant. So then I was thinking, you know, you kind of keep it the same. You show them going in, you show it taking off, and then it goes to the cockpit here. They're both in the cockpit, And then, yeah, they kind of have a conversation. Like, he acknowledges that, she was right. He was getting in over his head. She thanks him for having her back and helping her get out of there alive. And then I would have her ask, like, what are you going to do now? Like, I could take you to Coruscant. You could get amnesty. And he's like, no, I gotta figure this out for myself. And again, pulling back to where we are going with this, right? Her ultimately leaving the Jedi Order, him kind of setting an example in that sense of striking out on your own, away from everything you've ever known. That would be a great moment to kind of have here. And like, maybe she kind of pushes against it, like, I don't know exactly what she would say, but he kind of insists, like, no, I'm gonna go back to my roots or whatever, right? And so then the whole escape pod bit is a proper farewell. Maybe you can have a passing comment, oh, we're close by such and such system. It's like, maybe he says it like, oh, we'll be heading past such and such place, so I'll just jettison over there. I'll be fine.
No one followed us. Good job, R2. What do you mean?
Like, I appreciate that she's thanking R2. That's good. But she never says anything to Lux. She just completely ignores everything he does.
Yeah.
She only ever dumps on him.
The escape pod has been activated. Lux, R2, the ship is yours.
Yeah, it's like she remembers he exists. She does not care about him at all.
Nope.
Friendship shows who you really are.
Certainly does.
We make a pretty good team, don't we?
No! Stop baselessly praising the Mary Sue.
Don't worry. We'll meet again.
Careful, Lux.
Like, I like that end there. Don't worry, we'll meet again, don't worry. And then, be careful, Lux. Like, I like that. In a vacuum. Alright. Would we want to end it there? Or, we were gonna have Padme contact her later. But we kind of missed the opportunity. Like, once they get onto Karlak, there's really no opportunity.
Unless either Padme or Anakin, it would probably make more sense for Anakin to do it, directly contacted R2. But I feel like that would throw too much of a wrench into things.
Because if he found out that they were on Karlak surrounded by Mandalorians, he would, Death Watch, he would be there. Lickety-split.
Yes. Maybe, like, have a scene of her, like, arriving back at Coruscant, and Anakin and Padme are both there, and they're like, what the heck happened? And they would also have to address, like, the fallout of what happened on Mandalore.
Yeah.
Like, maybe...
I think I would just kind of, rather than having it be a whole scene, it's just kind of like, yeah, she arrives, they're there. Padme's like, what happened? Where's Lux? And Anakin's like, yeah, where's Lux? And she's just like, I got a lot to tell you guys. And as far as the peace negotiations not working out, I feel like it would be a little forced to kind of have Padme or something be like, yeah, we've got to talk to you too, because we're still on, by the way. I think it would make more sense to just kind of have the narrator at the beginning of the next episode or whatever being like, after peace negotiations failed, the war's still on, guys. I don't know.
Newsflash. We could maybe sneak in a line from Padme where, like, Ahsoka's like, I have a lot to tell you guys. And maybe she kind of makes a similar comment, like, we have a lot to talk about too, about what happened on Mandalore. And then they walk off. Or maybe she's like,
I have bad news too.
Like, either that or maybe Padme says something along the lines of, like, I don't have a lot of time, like, we'll hear you out later, like, we're still dealing with the fallout of what happened on Mandalore.
Right, and then maybe Ahsoka's like, what do you mean? And Anakin's just like, predictably, peace negotiations failed.
Yeah, maybe, like, end the episode on a dour note. So Anakin says that, and Ahsoka is like, oh crap. Like, you see it in her face. And then it cuts to the credits.
Like, the only other moment I think could work is that if you had Padme contact Ahsoka just before they leave the ship on Karlak, maybe Lux is like, you know, they're gonna be here soon, you know, we should head out. And then he starts to walk away, and then the controls beep or something. Ahsoka's like, yeah, I'll be right there. And then she hits the button, it's Padme. And I wouldn't have Padme ask where she is, because then it would be weird for her not to answer, unless she was worried that Padme would tell Anakin, which we probably would be. So, like, just wouldn't have Padme ask where she is, because maybe Padme would just assume they're en route to Coruscant, right? So then she wouldn't ask where she'd just say, you know, how's Lux? And Ahsoka is like, you know, I've got him, don't worry, I'll keep him safe. Then she's like, you know, I gotta go, but real quick, like, what happened with the negotiations? And then Padme can be like, unfortunately, we couldn't reach any consensus, and like, so basically, like, she lists, you know, one or two things, but none of which are what happened with Ahsoka and Lux. You know, I mean, if you really wanted to make it plain, you could have Ahsoka be like, oh, I hope, you know, we didn't, and she's like, no, the Separatists don't know what happened, and we're not telling them.
Yeah, I'm torn now. I can't decide whether I'd like it better in the middle or the end.
I think it would work to have Padme reveal about the negotiations in the middle, and then you just have the end with Ahsoka being like, I've got a lot to tell you guys. It would be I'd have to be careful not to make the scene with Padme too long. Like, you'd want to have it as brief as possible, because Ahsoka's in a hurry and the conversation would have to be cut short. Maybe, you know, she sees Lux walking to the front of the ship already, and he kind of like looks up and like waves at her like, you coming? And then she's like, I gotta go.
I don't know. Now I'm leaning toward having it at the end, because I feel like that would give it more weight, especially with like the narrator hyping it up so much at the beginning. Like, so many hopes are hanging on these negotiations. So yeah, I think it would be better to have it at the end to like really give it that weight.
But now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it doesn't really make sense to like make that the bookends of this episode that thematically has nothing to do with will the war end or not. So unless you like made that a theme, that like what's happening between Lux and the Death Watch and Ahsoka is like metaphorical for the war, then I don't think that would work. So then it would make more sense to me to have the narrator focus on something else instead. Like, yeah, set the stage, but maybe he also introduces, you know, and you know, they've come together, you know, the Separatists seeking this or whatever, and Lux Bonteri, you know, has plans of his own. Or something like that, so that you make it less of a hype up about the negotiations, which are there for 5 minutes and then gone for the rest.
Yeah, I just hate how like easily the whole thing is hand waved in the original, and I do kind of want to compensate for that, like give it as much weight as possible, because like it makes sense to give that weight. It would be a huge thing to those characters. Yeah, we the audience know that the war's gonna keep going. They don't.
Maybe if instead it's instead of it being like these are negotiations that could end the war, maybe it's instead like these are negotiations that could they're trying to like ease the collateral damage on independent systems, right? Because Separatists refuse to let Republic trade ships through, or you know, vice versa, right? And so then maybe Satine was was like, hey, you guys need to come here and, you know, work some things out, because as the, you know, head of the Council of Independent Systems, we are, you know, saying, hey guys, your war is harming our systems.
Oh yeah, I like that. It would actually give some relevance to the fact that, yeah, Satine represents supposedly like these 200 other planets.
And it would, again, kind of show how like this war is affecting even people who are trying to stay out of it.
Yeah, that works much better.
Yay! So that was season 4, episode 14, A Friend in Need. We had Ahsoka willingly offer to help Lux, but they got into more than they bargained for and had to work together to escape the sticky situation. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like, share with your friends, and consider subscribing so you don't miss future installments. As always, comment below letting us know what you think of our rewrites and what you would do differently. We'd appreciate any support you are willing and able to offer via Super Thanks or on Patreon, where we have plenty of exclusive content waiting for you. Next up, we'll begin tackling the Obi-Wan undercover arc, so be sure to join us for that. I like to think that my arrogance, okay, maybe I should learn how to say this word before we pick this one.
I don't know. Are we covering the Death Watch's motivations? Like, is it really
I was
relevant?
just gonna talk about it because sometimes we talk about other stupidities, and I want to talk about this other stupidity. So
Okay.
you're gonna let me talk about this other stupidity.
Okay, I'll charge you $1 million for it, and we'll call it even.
But they got into more than they bargained for and had to work together to escape the sticky situation. They got into more than they bargained for and had to. If you're laughing, you're like, yes, that's mute yourself, woman. Yay. Yeah.
Okay, we're done that. It only took us 3 hours.
Yeah, this episode just bugs me a lot, and so I've thought about it more, like in all-encompassing, and just the stupidity with the Death Watch, all of the setup and the everything about this episode is just why. I think we also had it in our notes.
We wanted to kind of set up a bit of a romantic inkling between Ahsoka and Lux, but honestly, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, if we were to try to include it here, I think it would just be too forced.
Like the way we've talked about it so far, yeah, I agree it would be forced. I think part of the reason I kind of liked the idea was hinting that she's bi opens up, shippers. They get shippered this way, they get shippered that way, and it's kind of canon. And then it's also like, it's aimed at like PG-13, so we're not talking like little kids, but like teenagers who are trying to figure themselves out, right? Like if they vibe with Ahsoka and Barriss, right? Like they've got representation there, or if they vibe with her and Lux, they've got a little representation there, right? So it kind of goes either way. So those are the reasons I kind of like the idea. Again, I will agree that maybe it won't end up working. I think it could work if we made certain tweaks, but we don't have to do that.
Like maybe if we extended the final scene, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of vaguely said, they have like a conversation, right? And like obviously you wouldn't be able to stuff everything into the final scene. You'd have to have little breadcrumbs littered earlier. I mean, I will say that like even Brain Invaders, because both Barriss and Lux had one setup episode before the we have now been through a crisis together. Obviously with Barriss, those episodes were closer together. It was, chronologically during the same time. But I mean, the way we had her with Lux in Heroes on Both Sides, like there was a friendship blossoming there, right? And then in this video, this episode, then you could hint that maybe there's some feelings by the end of this, that now that they've shared a crisis together.
I think the big difference is that Barriss and Ahsoka are on the same side in the same institution, so there's a lot of common ground there, and they had a lot of lulls in the episodes they had together. But with Lux and Ahsoka, I feel like that kind of relationship just inherently would require much more time to build up, because they started out on different sides, and because of that, there is just so much more for them to grapple with before even contemplating an inkling of a relationship.
I mean, their major difference, siding with the Separatists or siding with the Republic at this point, is no longer a major difference. He's against the Separatists now. Yeah, he's not pro-Republic, but
he's dealing with the death of his mother. Again, like, they had no common ground to start out with, and now he's wrapped up in this loss and his emotions, and so, like, it would be the last thing on his mind.
But, like, feelings aren't rational. You can have this kind of, hey, I kind of like this person, and just kind of leaving it at that. That's doable, in my opinion. Like I said,
I am very used to, like, way overthinking my ships, so...
Oh.
The thing is, like, that is the part of shipping that I enjoy, and I do not understand people who don't enjoy that, so... I do not understand the people who just take two random characters and smash them together and, like, no, you put zero thought into that. Why?
That's valid. I'm not a shipper. Like, I would not say that I ship Ahsoka and Lux, but I'm saying, like, if I was writing this and I wanted to kind of, have Ahsoka be bi, this is how I would kind of do it.
I feel like it would confuse the audience. Like, I guess, yeah, you could say, like, in both cases, they're not really serious feelings, they're more so like a crush. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like, at the same time, it feels like it would lean more towards serious feelings because, like, there's definitely a lot of trauma bonding going on in both cases. Especially with Barriss, I'd say.
I don't know.